Hi everyone, my name is Kristin Hayes and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm going to show you how to make this wedding card. Before we get started, I've had a few people ask me how to get notified when I post a video, so the best way to do that is to hit the subscribe button, and then next to it there's a little bell, and just switch it to all, and then every time I upload a video you will get a little notification on your YouTube. So just if you wanted to do that, I would appreciate it, and thank you very much. So let's get started with our card today. It is a wedding card, and I did a lot of stamping blends with this, so I'm going to show you how to color it in as well. So to get started, we're going to use a piece of cherry cobbler, and this is cut at 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. Then I have a piece of pretty peacock, and this is cut at 5 1/4 by 4. I did run this through the Big Shot already with the Parisian Flourish embossing folder. This is a really pretty folder, and I've used it for a lot of different things. I think I used it in my last video actually, but used it again today. And then we're going to be using the Forever Blossoms stamp set. This is all in the spring catalog, the embossing folder and this stamp set. And this is just a really pretty set. And I've used it obviously for wedding cards, but I've used it without the sentiments or with different sentiments for birthday cards or just a hello card thinking about you. The flowers are just beautiful. So what I did is I stamped this big flower out. And this is already colored in, so you don't have to watch me color for a while. And I just colored it in with the stamping blends. And then there's little flowers. So I cut 3 of these out, and this is the one we're going to color together. And then there's leaves right here. And I cut out 2 of those using the dies. Whoops. So one is done, and one we'll do together. And then I'll just show you they're called the Cherry Blossom dies. My dies are always a wreck, so they're always a mess. But this is the die we used to do the big flower bouquet. And then they have the leaves, the little one, and then they have extra flowers and a vine in here. It's a really pretty set. All right, we'll put that aside and we'll color this in. So to do the flowers, I use 3 stamping blends. I use the light real red, the light cherry cobbler, and the dark cherry cobbler. And we're going to start actually with the light cherry cobbler. And what we're going to do is we're just going to outline the flower using the smaller tip, not the paintbrush tip. And then I'm just going to go over anywhere they have little black lines. And I like to turn it as I go. And you don't have to be too exact with this because you are coloring over it again. But the darkness can just add a little bit of dimension to it. It goes pretty quickly, but I didn't want you to have to wait through every flower since I can just show you how I did it on one. All right, just finish that up and get right there. That looks good. Let me just come in there. Okay. Oops. Gonna cover that up. Then we're gonna come in with our light real red, and I'm gonna use the brush tip this time. And I'm just gonna go over the whole flower again, filling in all those white spots. And then I'm going to come in with the dark cherry cobbler, and I'm not going to outline this time. I'm going to use the smaller tip. I'm just going to go over those spots that have where the black ink is, just to give it just a little bit more dimension. And I'm definitely no artist, but this is the way I like to do it. You can obviously do it however you like to color in with your Stampin' blends. And then we'll just do one more, and this just gives it a little more dimension. So there's our flower, and then we're going to do our leaves. I forgot to get the pretty peacock blends out, so just let me grab them. So for the leaves, I didn't outline the edges. Whoops, sorry about that. I just did the middle part. So I'm going to take the dark Pretty Peacock and I'm going to take the small end and I'm just going to go where the veins are. So I'm just going to go down the middle and do a little bit of that. Down the middle again. Whoops. And then we're going to come in with the light Pretty Peacock, and I'm going to use the brush end on this one, and I'm just going to fill it in. There we go, and let me do the other side. Alrighty, and that's all of our leaves and flowers done. So then we need our sentiment stamped. So to do the cherish every moment of this day, and this is all in the same stamp set, the Forever Blossoms. And if I didn't mention it, the Forever Blossoms and the Cherry Blossoms dies are sold together as a bundle, so you can save 10% if you get them together. So I've mounted up the cherish every moment of this day, and we're going to use the Pretty Peacock ink, and we're just gonna ink it up and stamp it. Oh, I don't know if I gave you the measurements of this. This is 4 1/4 by 5/8 of an inch. So you might see my head in this one as I try and line it up. Let's see how I did. Oh, nope. That's a little messy right there. I have another piece just in case. If not, we can use the backs, but let's try it again. There we go, much better, much better. Alrighty. And then we're gonna do the Always and Forever. I just have a piece of scrap white, and I'm gonna use Cherry Cobbler this time. I'll ink that up. And I'll just stamp it right in the middle so we can fit the die around it. Just close that up. All right, so this little die is from Stitch So Sweetly, and this is a great set. I have just used this a ton. So you have all these rectangles here with the stitched scalloped edge. These are neater than most of mine, but they're still starting to fall off. And then you have these great shapes that nest together or are great to use separately on their own. So that's the 4 of them together. I just have a little piece stuck, and we'll just leave that. All right, so what I'm gonna do is grab my Big Shot, and we're just gonna put this right through it. All right, Always and Forever, and then it just fits inside here. There we go. And then we're just going to run it through. And there it is. Alrighty, so let's put that aside, and now we can start assembling our card and put it together. So I'm just going to adhere the Pretty Peacock onto the base. This paper always slides all over the place. All right, there we go. And I'm just going to center that on. And then I'm going to put the big bouquet on, the multiple flowers that are together. And I'm going to stack some dimensionals on here. I'll pop this up to give it some dimension. That should be good. Oops. These backs every time. Okay, so then we're going to just put that about right here. And then we're going to do the Cherish every moment of this day. That's going to go over it, and it's going to go from the side to the other side. So that just is going to cover the stem a little bit. So we're going to put a few dimensionals on here. Okay. Oop. All right, so from one side to the other, there we go. And now I'm going to stick the Always and Forever on, and I just tucked it in just a tiny bit under the Cherish. So this one I'm going to snail. Tuck it right there. And now I'm just going to position the other flowers randomly. You know, well, they're not exactly random because they're where I put them, but they're going to be in the same spots, but just kind of to fill up the space to make it look pretty. But we are going to put these on dimensionals. All right, so this one I'm going to have come just over onto the sentiment a little bit. And then we're going to put these two towards the top. Like this. I'm just going to move them right here. And I don't have this in the exact place I had it in the sample, but that's okay. So we're just going to put a little bit of snail onto the leaves, and we're going to just stick it behind the flowers, and I'm going to tuck it under the bouquet that's already there. So let's see. Tuck it under that way. There we go. And then we'll tuck it under this way. Doesn't want to go under on this side. There we go. So just so it's underneath a little bit. I guess you could put that on first, but then this, you know, has to kind of be on so you can see exactly where you're putting it. And then we just have one more leaf over here. And we're just going to tuck that under these, like that. And that's all there is to it. So this is all set. This is the one we made. And this is the one that was the sample. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're not already working with the Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love a chance to work with you. Thanks so much for watching.